Hi everybody, Rob Warbay here, and I'm here with the longly awaited Black Widow prototype. So it took a while to get this far. There was a lot of rethinking on how a Tribey needs to work. No more front suspension where it's a bar across like an old Ford truck. Now we have wishbone independent suspension on the front left and front right wheels. On the rear, you still have your dampening spring suspension. Nothing really much has changed back here. It's gotten a little bit skinnier along the forks. Not as much beef because we don't need it. It's a lot shorter too. It's about 10 inches shorter than the Mark 14. So this will be the Mark 15 Black Widow prototype. All aluminum frame, and the hardest part about this was figuring out the steering, since I took away about, I want to say 16 inches of the torsion shaft. Now this thing is about 34 inches long instead. Saves a lot of money and saves a lot of play that you would have felt up front if the pitman arm had been up there. The inverse steering is a new thing. Now you have to account for your inverse. When you want to go left, you have to account for that. You want to go right, account for that. Just like any modern day suspension, all wishbone. Rod ends and everything. Newest addition is air suspension on the front. These are just normal shocks you can buy on Amazon. They're 190 millimeters long. You can adjust the pressure going inside of them. I have them set to the minimum because you really don't need it. And these back here are also 190 millimeter, and they can be swapped out with any type of shock, making this thing a little bit more universal than it was before with the old go-kart type shocks that were on it. We still have the patented steering system on here with the adjustable dampening on here, left and right usage. Also, when you were leaning left and right, the whole frame moves left and right with you now. It's not just staying straight and offering resistance. When you lean left, the wishbone suspension leans left as well. This allows for better handling around curves. So now the whole frame doesn't want to twist and turn. It'll turn with you, as well as the rear tire will rotate to the right and left depending on which way you lean. Still have the same type of braking mechanism, electronic, and a hydraulic caliper as backup in case the electronic one fails for whatever reason. The only wires that are going through the frame right now are the two battery leads. Those will be a little bit more low profile after the prototype is done and I figured out everything that needs to be fixed or modified on here. The mounts for where you're standing, there are less of them, less weight as well. You only have 2 points where it's actually mounted on. The last one you can see is a 3D printed component that allows us to open and close the whole frame. That's also a new addition. You now have a hinge built into the frame itself, right there. Instead of a 3/8 inch on both side hinge that's bulky and not very useful and adds a lot of weight, now we have one that's just 1/4 inch aluminum on both sides with a 3/8 pivot bolt. The whole thing folds in half, although I do need to add the rod that goes through the sides, so you can do that. Right now it's just in fixed mode. The battery is now on the front. It's easier to put on and take off, although I'm looking at different ways of mounting the battery, such as in the undercarriage, hopefully, to lower that center of gravity even more for better handling. Right now it does pretty well and I'm pretty happy with it. Again, another 3D printed component just to see if it would work or not. And it works really well. Your handle is still the same. Normal grip, brake, and throttle. And cruise control, obviously. Next video, we'll be taking a little bit of a ride around downtown San Mateo, California, where it's nice and sunny outside. Thanks for viewing.